Come on.
Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
What up, people? Once again, we are on. I am the great Mike Steph. The Mojo King is on assignment, but he will be live. Well, not really live, but his presence will be felt this week on Hidden Gems Football. Yes, Hidden Gems Football this week will be previewing this weekend's divisional round matchup, both in the NFC and the AFC. This is going to be very, very interesting because I am behind the boards. I am in charge of everything you see on this screen, which might be a positive. It probably will be a positive, but trust and believe it's going to be a wild, wild ride, and hopefully y'all will tune in and fasten your seatbelt and go along for the ride. This is very, very special to me because this is the first time in 19 Media Group history that's going to be a sprinkle of salt. A sprinkle of salt edition. Not even a sprinkle of salt edition, but a Hidden Gems Football salty edition. Yes, indeed. I'm not going to really go that much farther into the intro because we have 4 games on tap, and time is limited. Time is limited because we, meaning me, want to make sure that you get this video out in time for you to actually put your bets in. Best believe I was 5 out of 6 last week. Even though my pockets feel like I was 0 for 6, but that's neither here nor there because the Parlay King, yes, took a loss. But neither here nor there. Like I said, I'm going to keep the rambling to a minimum, at least in this intro, and we're going to get things on the way. So, without further ado, good night and goodbye. Later.
Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
I guess who wants to start over again? So be it. So the first game on deck for this Divisional Round Saturday is the Houston Texans visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. The Texans are coming off a dominant victory in their wild card game versus the Chargers, in which they won 32-12. The opportunistic defense forced Justin Herbert to throw 4 interceptions and had him under constant pressure all game long. The Chiefs, on the other hand, are the top seed in the AFC and took advantage of their bye to get all their marquee players rested, primed, and ready for their attempt at the first ever Super Bowl three-peat. I'm going to start with the Texans. The Texans, man, listen. Do you know that C.J. Stroud was the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL season with 52 sacks over 18 games? Houston's offensive line has struggled to provide constant protection along with the interior. This vulnerable group has faced a massive, I tell you, will face a massive challenge in Chris Jones and George Karlaftis. The Houston Texans have defied all expectations throughout the 2024 season, showcasing resilience, talent, and growth in critical moments. Do you know this team was 6-3 before the bottom fell out, so to speak? They went 500 the rest of the way. They was 4-4, finished with the record of 10-7. But along the way, they lost. They were without Nico Collins for a large amount of time. Then they lost Stephon Diggs, their key free agent acquisition in the offseason for the year. And then right when Nico Collins came back, they lost Tank Dell for the rest of the year. They've even gone a period of time without their other free agent acquisition, Joe Mixon. And it's almost a proven fact when Joe Mixon is healthy and on par, this team is a team to be reckoned with. But unfortunately, they don't have the all their prerequisite parts running and humming at the same time. Now, when you go with now you're going on the other side with Chiefs. Don't you know the Chiefs beat this same Texans team in Week 16, 27-19? Their defense also forced C.J. Stroud into 2 interceptions that really did impact that game. Here's an interesting stat for you, though. Patrick Mahomes is 6-0, 6-0 in divisional round games for his career. He has never been eliminated before the AFC Championship game in his entire career. Here's a quote from Patrick Mahomes. This team can win in a multitude of ways, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. Matter of fact, this is more like the Mahomes voice. We've broadcast that throughout the year that we can win no matter how bad we play. You know how often we've actually come away with miraculous victories? Yeah, that's me saying. But back to the quotes. This team has had a lot of close games. We've had a lot of injuries, faced a lot of adversity early on throughout the year. Mahomes said that he's focused on the task at hand after a 15-2 regular season, in which 11 games was decided by 8 points or less. Another stat that reminds you of the history that we're seeing yearly is this. Patrick Mahomes can tie Joe Montana for 16 wins, for second place all time in playoff wins by a quarterback behind the GOAT Tom Brady with 35. Patrick Mahomes is 4 places behind Brady for all-time playoff touchdown passes, and just 5 TDs will bump him up to second place on that list. Tom Brady has 88 touchdown passes in 48 playoff games. Mahomes has 41 touchdown passes in 18 playoff games. Aaron Rodgers has 45. Joe Montana has 45. And Brett Favre has 44. And those are the 3 that stand in between the 2. And finally, this info about these 2 teams. Their playoff history with one another. Kansas City overcame a 24-zip second quarter deficit against the visiting Texans in a divisional game in the 2019 season before winning 51-31 en route to their first Super Bowl title. Before the Patrick Mahomes era started, the Chiefs blanked the host Houston Texans 30-0 in a wild card game after the 2015 season. Now, being the fact that I gave y'all all the prerequisite stats, or the prerequisite, quotes, we're going to now listen to the Mojo King, yes indeed, and his 2 cents on this pivotal playoff game.
All right, folks, I am going to be in and out. Mike Steph is captaining the ship. I'm just a passenger today. So let's talk Texans Chiefs. Specifically, I want to talk about what would make the Texans exceed expectations. For me, their path to contention is a small one, but I think it's there. Just hear me out for a second. First of all, Houston's defense is legit. When it comes correct, it really comes correct. You saw what it did to Herbert last week. You remember, this is the same team that had the 5 interceptions with Goff. Of course, Detroit won that game. That's besides the point. The point is that this defense can make offenses make mistakes. Would you expect it from Mahomes and the veteran Kansas City team coming off a bye? Not really, but it's within the realm of possibility. The other thing that makes it possible that Houston can compete and maybe win, I think most of us have agreed to the fact that Kansas City is back. They got Hollywood Brown back. They had a couple of weeks with him, and the offense looked terrific, back to normal. But let's not forget the 14 weeks before that. Obviously winning all those games, but it was very competitive. Each game they had a chance to lose a few games. If Houston can play them tight like that, that means Houston has a chance. And there's no guarantee that Kansas City is completely fixed all of a sudden. You know, people were very pro Chargers last week. Maybe there's pro Kansas City this week. Maybe Houston's going to prove them wrong again. With that said, I got Kansas City to win clearly. I think they will beat them by more than 8. And I think that the over-under will be over.
Okay, the Mojo King. He's picked Kansas City to cover, and he thinks the over is going to happen. I am going to be the contrarian today. I do believe that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win, being the fact they won by 8 in the regular season, 27-19, like I've previously mentioned. That's an 8-point spread. Do I believe? I have one or two thoughts. Either one, Kansas City has just been milking the rest of this whole regular season, getting ready for the real season, or all those close games that they played with the microcosm of what to expect in this postseason run right now. So I'm going to choose the Texans, not to win, but the Texans to cover. So the Texans plus 8.5, and that over under. Listen, I don't trust neither one of these teams to really go hard. It's supposed to be cold as it's supposed to be brick in KC. So I believe that tends to be the under. The next game on the menu, the nightcap, so to speak, should be an exciting one. The Washington Commanders, fresh off a last-second thriller that took a field goal going in off the bounce, off the goalpost to put them over, make them triumphant over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wild card game, head into Motor City with rookie phenom quarterback Jaden Daniels to face the top-seeded Detroit Lions, who are on a mission to take care of unfinished business from last year. Listen, when I say these boys been on a mission, 15-2, number 1 seed, home field throughout the playoffs, blowing people out by 30, 40, 50 at times. Detroit is on the mission, but I'm going to start with the Commanders first. Couple stats. Being the fact they have a rookie quarterback, of course, there's always some type of history that's going on. So, rookie quarterbacks are 5-7 in the divisional playoffs since 1950, and they're 1-4 since 2010. Coincidentally, only Mark Sanchez with the New York Jets and Joe Flacco of the 2008 Baltimore Ravens have won multiple road games as a rookie starter. Jaden Daniels will look to overcome those numbers against an injury-plagued Detroit Lion defense. Do you know that Jaden Daniels, this dude right here, do you know that Jaden Daniels was 8-3 in one-score games this season, truly earning the team the moniker of the Cardiac Commies? Well, the Cardiac Commanders, but listen, I'm going to call them the Commies. Sue me. With the win, the Commanders would advance to the conference championship for the first time since they defeated, coincidentally, the Detroit Lions in the 1991 NFC Conference Championship game. How's that for irony? Now, going on the other side with the Lions, like I said before, they claimed a number 1 seed in the NFC for the first time in franchise history. Runners up to the 49ers in the NFC last season, the Lions set a franchise record for wins in the 2024 season, winning 15 out of their 17 regular season games, clinching the NFC North with a Week 18 victory against those frauds, the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Detroit Lions, and Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Washington Commanders, are two of the most aggressive and effective coaches on fourth down. Do you know that these two teams have coaches that pretty much feel like fourth down, we're going to go for it? There was plenty of times in that game against Tampa, and I'm talking about the Commanders, that they went for the fourth down. I'm like, no, don't do it. No, take the points. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. You got it. Trust me. I have money on the Commanders. So listen, they should have won me a pretty penny, but that's neither here nor there. How about this for two gunslinging head coaches, two gunslinging teams, two gunslinging franchises? And I'm talking about gambling. Get your mind out the gutter. Detroit converted 22 of 33 attempts on fourth down this season. Now, on Washington's side, they've converted 20 of 23 during the regular season at 87% clip. That was the best in the NFL since the year 2000. The Lions have kept their offense on the field instead of kicking field goals or punting a league high 151 times on fourth down over the last 4 seasons. Dan Campbell is the only NFL coach to go for it that many times in a 4-year span since at least 1991. Listen, I wish we had a coach like that, but I shouldn't even be wearing this, but listen, got a rep. Shoot, tell you the truth, Detroit's my pick. It's been my pick since the beginning of the season. And don't let the Mojo King fool you. Kansas City is his pick. Yes. But we both have Detroit and Kansas City facing off in the playoffs. But I will let him speak for himself when he returns next week from assignment. Listen, y'all know I'm going to go on tangents. Washington went for it on fourth down 5 times last week against the Bucs, and was successful 3, including a late touchdown pass from Daniels to Terry McLaurin. Now, another trend to keep eye on is how these two teams respond to the bright lights of prime time. The Lions are 11-2 in prime time under Campbell. The dynamic duo, what they call them? What is it? Sonic and Punch or something like that. Listen, I'm sorry, I'm not up on the nicknames, but pretty much the dynamic and powerful duo of David Montgomery, who is scheduled to return from injury, and Jahmyr Gibbs combined for an average of 138.5 yards on the ground during the regular season, while Washington was among the worst against the run, allowing an average of 137.5 yards per game on the ground, 30th in the league. So with all that out the way, I guess it's time for us to shuffle on over to Mo and see what's his thoughts on this NFC Divisional Round matchup.
Mojo, the devil's advocate, continues. Why Washington could upset the Detroit Lions. My first fear for Detroit, and this is a fear that I'm going to have throughout the playoffs as long as Detroit's in it, is that Dan Campbell's high-risk fourth downs will one day not only not pay off, but help the other team score easy points. Now listen, I understand you math people love going for it on fourth downs. And I have to say, when the math works, the math works. But there's 2 things about it. One, Dan Campbell goes for it more than when the math says he should go for it. 2, coming into pretty much all these games the rest of the season, at least up until the Super Bowl, Detroit should be the better team. And when you're the better team, you don't have to take as many risks. But Dan Campbell is going to take these risks, and there's a chance that it may blow up in his face at some point. The second reason is that Washington did so well capitalizing on Tampa Bay's mistakes last week. And Detroit is not, for as good as they played all season, they're not proven to be a Super Bowl winning, not going to mess up team. And when you think about it, with all the injury replacements that they have, mistakes are liable to happen. And maybe they happen in pressure situations. As wonderful as golf has been this season, as I just mentioned the segment before, he did have a 5 interception game. And because of that, I'm actually taking Washington versus the spread. I think Detroit's going to win. I'm not getting too carried away there. But I do think Washington will cover the spread, and I expect this to be under.
That seems like a good pick. I'm not even gonna lie. I was waffling while that clip was playing, trying to figure out which side of I was going to take. Do I believe that Washington is going to fold under the pressure? Tell you the truth, if they were going to fold under the pressure last Sunday night when they was down and almost out against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road, rookie quarterback, that would have been the time. Instead, they persevered. Jaden Daniels had ice in his veins and drove that team down into field goal range. And yeah, by the luck of boink, boink, doink, it went in, but still, he put them in a position to go in. So that 9.5, as much as I really want to say that they're going to get blown out, I don't think Jaden Daniels is going to allow them to get blown out. So I'm in agreement with Mo that it's going to be the Commanders plus 9.5. And the over-under, I'm going to go under. Now, don't get me wrong. Detroit is going to win because I just think they just have the pedigree right now that they're the better team. They're the better experienced team when it comes to these playoffs. And, Jaden Daniel is a neophyte, so to speak, but he's getting his feet wet. He got his victory. So it's going to be 2 and done. And next year, he'll be that much more battle-tested to go against such a juggernaut as the Detroit Lions have proved themselves to be in the 2024 season. So, once again, my pick, Washington, plus 9.5, the over-under. That picture on your screen right now is IRS. You know, the IRS, the letterman, always gets his man. And trust and believe, if we hit on these picks, like I hope we hit, hopefully we will not be seeing this man knocking on my door. Hopefully this man will not be sending me emails. Hopefully this man will not be putting stuff in my mailbox talking about, you owe me. Like Nas for Nostradamus. Shorty, hey, what's up? If you back it up, you can go my eyes. Now I say you owe me something. See, listen, I'm trying, Mo. I'm trying. But anyway, that brings us to the end of a very interesting edition, very special edition of Hidden Gems Football. I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for making this here the podcast, the football podcast y'all choose to view, and the football podcast y'all choose to listen to. Please check us out tomorrow, where we will preview the Sunday slate of games in this divisional round matchup. Well, divisional round playoffs weekend. Yeah, so got a big doozy on tap. We got the Eagles and the Rams, and then we got the nightcap with Baltimore traveling to Buffalo in the matchup of MVP candidates. And I'm telling you the truth, I think whoever wins that game, even though it shouldn't have any type of bearing, whoever wins that game is probably going to get the MVP. Just saying. So, with all that being said, I will see y'all tomorrow. And I almost forgot that I don't sign out on here like I sign out on mine. So, without further ado, Hidden Gems Football has been a part of the Media Group. Goodbye.
The 19 Media Group presentation.
Oh, you thought we'd finish? Of course we're not finished. The Hidden Gems. What? Because I'm not as nifty with the editing for the Hidden Gems and have any outtakes. Guess what? This is what we call impromptu Hidden Gems. This is what I call my chance to show off me. My pipes. Pause. Anybody remember that club song from the 90s? She's homeless. La la dee, la la da, la la dee, la la da. Well, I came up with this ditty. Do you know, after the wild card game last week, that Deontay Johnson, wide receiver formerly of the Texans was released, and pretty much they say your services are no longer needed. So I guess he's not homeless, of course not, because he's a multimillionaire. But Deontay Johnson is gone. He's teamless. He's teamless. Got 3 teams in 3 months. He's teamless. He's teamless. La la dee la la da. La la dee la la da. La la dee la la da.
The 19 Media Group presentation.
Oh no, what, you thought I was finished? Not finished. Of course. Gotta actually talk about the best team in this bracket. And that would be, well, not the bracket, but the best team we talked about this week, today, this episode, and that would be the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions. La la la, la la dee, la la da, Lions roar. Oh, la 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 la, Lions roar. La la dee, la la da, Lions roar. Oh, la 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 la, Lions roar. Goodbye.
The 19 Media Group presentation.